Good evening and welcome to round one of the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League. The game we're broadcasting tonight comes to you from Parramatta Basketball Stadium, and it's the home Sydney Blues up against their crosstown rivals, the Sydney University Flames. The Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League, founded in the year 2000, has had a checkered history in the past few years. The last winners were the Perth Wheelcats in 2022. There was no additions in 2021 and 2020 because of COVID, and no league at all in 2023 last year. But in really pleasing fashion, Wheelchair Basketball Australia has taken over the management of the men's and women's National Wheelchair Basketball Leagues. And tonight we get a chance to look at two of the four teams in the women's competition, with the Sydney Blues against the Sydney Uni Flames. These teams play 3 games in the round this weekend, so they met earlier this afternoon, play tonight, and they will play a third game tomorrow. And I'm very pleased to have the vastly experienced Campbell Fraser on hand, who can probably give us a little bit of insight about what happened this afternoon and what to look for this evening.
Yeah, I think this was a very interesting game to see something so close, and yet if you look at just the team lists, you might have been thinking that the Blues could have taken it pretty easily. I think that comes down to a couple of things. I think the Flames do have a couple players that are very key to their power. You've got Annabelle Lindsay being a very strong high point player, and a few low pointers to really support her through that. I'd be interested to see this game looking at players on the Blues like Monroe Cook to shoot a bit better. Her percentage wasn't quite as high as she's used to. And also a lot of scoring came through the low pointers like Gauchi, which suggests that maybe those high pointers were getting locked down a bit harder than they used to.
Right, while we're waiting for the pictures to come through from Parramatta, Campbell, you mentioned pointers, and for anybody who has tuned in here maybe for the first time, or maybe is a little familiar with the concept from watching at the Paralympics but doesn't know exactly how the point system works?
Yeah, so there's a classification system in wheelchair basketball that essentially classifies a person's physical ability. It has no bearing on skill, but is simply their level of movement. So it goes from 1 to 4.5, 1 pointers being having the least physical ability, and 4.5s being more physically able, tending towards amputees. You are allowed 14 points on court at any time across your 5 players, so you will have low point players who are more your pickers, your sealers in the team, that allow those high point players to get into positions where they can shoot and get the most out of that role.
Okay. And for people watching, that they'll notice that there'll be different heights in the chairs according to where the players are sitting, which explains a little bit of the points difference in the...
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of the low point players will sit very low, mainly because they don't have a lot of core ability. So obviously the higher you sit, the more you need that core ability to keep you steady.
Okay, we're still waiting on those pictures. We did have a look before at some of the warm-up. The floor looked all set to go, and the players were on the floor, so we're hoping those pictures will come through in a minute. Interestingly, later on tonight, we're doing a broadcast of the second of the women's opening round matches from Perth. The Perth Wheelcats up against the defending title holders from back in 2022, up against the Queensland Comets, and they also played earlier this afternoon, Campbell. A comfortable win for the Perth team.
Yeah, I think that speaks to what we've seen also with the men's team in Perth, having quite a strong infrastructure and history behind them. But I'd be interested to see Queensland kind of pull something together out of that team, being a younger team and a little less experienced, but maybe a little more fight.
Okay, pleasing that we've got those pictures through now, and you'll see the starting 5s on the floor. Referee Ron Joseph with his back to us, about to throw the ball up. Sydney Uni Flames in the white uniform, and the Sydney Blues in their home dark blue with the blue trim. Starting for the Blues, number 5, Jessica Cronje. 8 is Georgia Monroe Cook. 11, Kylie Gauchi. 21, Shelley Matheson. And 32, Tori Simpson. And for the visiting Flames, It's number 5, Brodie Palmer, 8, Annabelle Lindsay, who took the jump there, 10, Hannah Dodd, 15, Stephanie Van Leeuwen, and 22, Patricia Luff. And we're underway. Sydney Blues with the first possession. Jessica Cronje gets the ball across. That shot is a little short. Score is not being troubled yet. It looks like a change to the starting lineup for the Flames. Lisa Edmonds there running the point. That shot's off. Kylie Gauchi there, getting the pass across to Jessica Cronje. But it's gone astray. And Annabelle Lindsay, number 8 for the Flames, weaving across the floor. Looking for a post pass, nothing available. It's back to Edmonds. Edmonds with the lob pass. And we've got our first score. Stephanie Van Leeuwen finishing that one off the glass. Kylie Gauchi with the ball outside the 3-point line. Back to Cronje, and that one's good. You'll notice the 2 clocks on the wall behind both the backboards. The bottom larger number is the shot clock number. Both teams allowed 24 seconds to create a shot. And the game clock is the smaller red number. As Annabelle Lindsay posts up there and has that one rim out. Kylie Gauchi with the rebound, streaking down the floor. Finds Shelley Matheson. She can't quite finish that one. And the Flames with the ball again, pushing some transition. Stephanie Van Leeuwen there. Bobbles around and falls in. Kylie Gauchi running the point for the Blues. It's Georgia Munro Cook with that shot, a little short. Annabelle Lindsay, formerly part of the Gliders setup, as we've got our first foul.
Interestingly, we're seeing a lot of different ball handlers coming through in this game. We're not seeing necessarily one committed ball handler, and I think that's forcing both these teams into a little bit of a confused offense.
First substitution, Shelley Matheson heads to the bench. Marianne Latu, another one of the Australian Gliders team, onto the floor. So we see a shooting foul there. Jessica Cronje assessed with that personal foul. Each of the players on the teams, as per normal, allowed 5 fouls during the course of a game. As we're seeing here, any player fouled in the act of shooting would be entitled to 2 shots. As we see Stephanie Van Leeuwen with the one-handed free throw action.
I think that's just a credit of sitting so low and needing that power. Maybe not having the form to get it there.
Kylie Gauchi makes a good save there, but it's gone astray. Annabelle Lindsay picking up the loose ball. Lisa Edmonds. Series of offensive rebounds there, and Annabelle Lindsay almost snatches that one away from her teammate and finishes. Flames on top early. Kylie Gauchi pushing transition, cut off there. She must run into her own screener. Takes another left-hand dribble. Back out to Marianne Latu. That pass deflected away by Brodie Palmer in number 5 for Sydney. All right, this game coming to you from Parramatta Basketball Stadium. As the shot clock's winding down, Georgia Munro Cook realised that and launched a desperation 3, but it's off.
It's an unlucky shot. She certainly can make those kinds of shots. She's not having the time for it. And again, we're seeing the low pointers bring up the ball. I think that's making this offense really difficult.
Lisa Edmonds gets herself to the free throw line. Rebound Georgia Munro Cook. She leads the break up the floor. Uses a screen from Kylie Gauchi. Skip pass across the floor. The shot from Lucinda Bueti. It's the Flames again pushing transition. Some real traffic issues there in the middle of the floor. Lovely pass, Annabelle Lindsay, and finish by Brodie Palmer. Sydney looking the more efficient in the early stages, although we're 7 minutes into first quarter. Just can't get that one to go. Georgia Munro Cook in exactly the right spot. The Kylie Gauchi pass was on the money. Lindsay with the ball for the Flames. Hands off to Edmonds. Her shot's a little long, but Brodie Palmer in there can't quite corral the rebound. Kylie Gauchi dribbles down the left-hand side of the floor, surveys her options, gets around a defender.
Good
Shot's a little,
fight.
Lindsay does expertly there to get around a number of defenders and potential screeners. Switches the ball from right to left. Puts that mid-range shot. The ball will be out of bounds to the Blues. Kylie Gauchi with the ball. Left-hand pass there. Rebound deflected out of bounds by Annabelle Lindsay. So we see some substitutions for the Flames. The Flames in white. Sydney Blues in their home black strip with the light blue trim. Kylie Gauchi gets us started. Georgia Munro Cook can't get that one to fit. Bueti with the ball. Kylie Gauchi looks for the bounce pass, but it's deflected.
Maybe a little bit of anger there from that steal.
Yeah, I think it's been a frustrating first quarter for the Blues. They're marooned on 2 points.
They're just not quite finding those shots landing. I mean, they're getting in positions to shoot that Munro Cook can definitely shoot from, and for some reason they're just not going.
If anybody thinks that name is familiar, the woman with the ball now, Lisa Tesh, one of Australia's most decorated Paralympians, and a member of the Legislative Assembly in New South Wales. An amazing woman. 5 Paralympic Games, 2 gold medals, 2 silver, bronze in 2 different sports, sailing and wheelchair basketball. Kylie Gauchi And I think the clock on our screen, you'll notice, looking at the clock behind, it's a little in front. There's still a couple of minutes to go in this quarter. Get that corrected for the second quarter.
Seeing very aggressive defense from the Flames.
Lindsay looks ahead and finds Hannah Dodd, who actually had changed her number, and back to Lindsay to finish for 2. Hannah Dodd, she of the Australian Gliders, is in fact in number 23. If you're looking for any of the live stats, you can find those on any of the social media or website pages of Wheelchair Basketball Australia. As we see a shooting foul called, Lisa Tesh has her hand up. Yeah, Wheelchair Basketball Australia managing the men and women's leagues this year and providing a great service on their website, through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and if you're watching at the moment, obviously on YouTube, you can get the stats live, the vision, and the stories, results of a busy weekend. Respective coaches, Troy Sachs for the Sydney Blues on the right, and Alan Cox looking after the Sydney Uni Flames on the left.
Sachs not too impressed there. I think this is a little less than what we would expect of the Blues, having quite a strong side. It's funny, they haven't looked particularly bad. The play has been competitive, but their shots just aren't falling.
It's Georgia Munro Cook will take 2 free throws, having been fouled in the act of shooting. Calmly converts the first. Gets the plaudits from her teammates. Second's a little off to the right. Annabelle Lindsay showing her capacity, just a casual one-handed rebound. Van Leeuwen off to Cecile Wells. That shot a little long. Carly Gauci speeding down the floor, as she loves to do. Finds a lane all the way to the hoop. Maybe might have just been deflected out of her hand. Annabelle Lindsay with a different style altogether of dribbling. Got a blocking foul there on Jessica Cronje.
Really unfortunate not quite finding that defense in time. If she had got there, Dodd was coming at quite some speed, ready for that charge.
Annabelle Lindsay very strong through the shoulder and the wrist there. Real snap on the shot. She converts another one.
And the Blues have got to watch out for that. They've got to be jumping those shots. They know Annabelle will shoot those shots.
Lisa Tesh with the interception there. Finds Lindsay streaking down the floor. Blues heads turning all over the place, trying to keep up with things, and Lindsay sails in for the offensive rebound and the putback. Marianne Latu gets things started. Georgia Munro Cook on the left wing. Think shot, but finds Jessica Cronje cutting down the middle. It's just a minute to go in this first quarter. Annabelle Lindsay arches her back and is fouled.
Very difficult position to defend there without getting a foul. Having both players kind of coming in from both sides, I think eventually you're gonna draw that contact.
Just needs the requisite patience from the shooter to wait for the defenders to commit.
And someone like Annabelle Lindsay will wait for that.
First free throws are straight. Second one converted, double figure lead. Just 57 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Ignore that clock on the screen. We'll get that attended to shortly. It's Marianne Latu. Looks right, looks left. Finds a cutting Georgia Munro Cook, but again she can't finish. It's been a frustrating first quarter for the Blues. Not so the Flames. Annabelle Lindsay again, fantastic cut.
And she draws a lot of attention. I think that's what you're finding here is that the Blues are really forcing their attention onto Annabelle Lindsay, and she knows how to play out of that.
And Annabelle Lindsay was certainly aware that that was the 5th team foul this quarter. So if either team commits 5 team fouls, on the 5th foul, any consequent fouls, 2 free throws are awarded to the team that was fouled. Annabelle Lindsay letting the referees know, or reminding them that that was the case on this occasion. She makes the first. Calmly snaps the second. So the Blues can use most of the shot clock, or game clock remaining. Latu finds a beautiful pass. Much needed score for the Blues. Sydney Uni Flames a chance to get the last shot of this quarter. On the run, that was Hannah Dodd. That one's a straight. And there we are, Campbell. A 10-point lead. After saying that the first game this afternoon, a 3-point win for the Flames, was a bit of a surprise, we've got the same thing happening again.
And really, it's strange. I think you're seeing quite, not to be mean, but a cold game from Munro Cook at the moment, just having her shots not fall, shooting 1 from 8 at the moment, and really just struggling to kind of find her position and really set where she can shoot from.
Just temporarily lost our picture then. We're back in a second. In terms of answers, Campbell, and what can you suggest for the Blues?
I'd be looking to put someone else on for Munro Cook for a minute, just give her kind of that space to breathe and kind of calm down. I think knowing those 5 fouls have come through, it's a little bit scary, especially that being in the first quarter. That's not the position that the Blues want to be in. And putting someone like Shadwell in who can kind of fit a similar role that Munro Cook plays as that big shooter in the key to fight for those possessions, because someone does need to be consistently contesting Annabelle Lindsay, being quite a tall player and quite an aggressive player. So I'd be looking at a couple rotations just to give players a breather, and then looking at bringing her back on.
Okay. And we can see our 3 officials there. 3-man officiating, as is the international standard through all games in the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League this year. And to get us started in the second quarter, it works on an alternating possession cycle. Hannah Dodd dancing away in a chair there as she comes across to inbound the ball. Very unique look at the top of Hannah's head there from our close camera. She gets the ball into Liesl Tesch. Dribbles down the left side, expertly uses the screen. But that shot's astray. Georgia Munro Cook with the rebound. Shelley Matheson has her dribble cut off. Georgia Munro Cook really almost too far under the basket there. Annabelle Lindsay again gets the rebound with a big left claw. Pushes it ahead. Gets a bit of a screen, can get very close to the basket. The shot's a little long. Rebound is all over the place. Lisa Tesh finds Lindsay again. She's confronted by Caitlin Gunn. Caitlin, one of the red card players. She's notionally a 1.5 pointer, but by virtue of being a youngster or junior player, gets a point deduction. A move the league's made to try and encourage opportunities for young players. Georgia Munro Cook pushing the ball down, but the transition defence again is watertight from the Sydney Uni Flames. She retreats back to Matheson. Matheson inside finds Tisha Shadwell.
I think that's exactly what we were looking for from the Blues. I mean, not resting Munro Cook, but allowing someone else to kind of take that scoring role. And also that aggressive defense. I mean, if you watch Shadwell, she is playing quite aggressive, fighting for those rebounds and kind of pressing up the floor.
As Hannah Dodd answers for the Flames with a long bank shot. Matheson inside, finds Munro Cook. That shot slightly deflected, I think. It's Lindsay again who's just mopping up everything. Both ends of the floor from a rebounding perspective. Georgia Munro Cook cuts off her dribble. It's back to Hannah Dodd. She finds a lane down the middle of the key and draws some contact, and will go to the free throw line for 2 shots.
That's the kind of drive that you want to see from a ball handler. I mean, Dodd being a relatively low point player, but also being quite fast and quite willing to control the ball. If the Blues are willing to look away even for a second, you'll see a drive like that very quickly.
Hannah with an interesting shooting motion herself. It's notionally left-handed. There's a bit of both hands involved there. She cuts down the middle, makes a lovely left-hand layup, underhand. There'd be a degree of ambidexterity in her skill set.
Maybe proving something after missing those shots.
Georgia Munro Cook finds Matheson. One's a little long. It's the ever-present Annabelle Lindsay with the defensive rebound and push, and she's found a lane. This is trouble, although cut off. She rolls back. The roll-away shot, as we were wanting it to be called, or imagining it might be called. Georgia Munro Cook weaving in and out. Draws some contact. Hannah Dodd with her hand in the air.
And interestingly, you were seeing usually you would see lower point players looking at sealing and picking, but actually Shadwell looking at getting Munro Cook in there.
If you're watching that clock on the screen, seems to have accelerated a fraction again. It's about 6.5 minutes to go in this second quarter from Parramatta Basketball Stadium as Georgia Munro Cook makes a basket to keep the margin at a manageable 10. Sydney Uni Flames leading by that score. Hannah Dodd wheels around, snaps a pass across the keyway. Seal Wells back to Annabelle Lindsay. Munro Cook with the rebound and the outlet pass. Shelley Matheson kicks it on again. Tisha Shadwell. Oh, beautiful pass to Shelley Matheson. As we've got a timeout. Troy Sachs looking a little more animated in the coaching role there, is out on the floor. High fives for all his players.
I think the Blues finding a little bit more of their strength, and not necessarily the score reflecting that, but that they seem a lot more comfortable, a lot more. They're louder, they're a bit more aggressive, and I think that's paying off. They're shutting down Lindsay a lot more, and she's not quite getting the shots that she wants, and she's taking a few of them and missing a few of them, and that's starting to play out for the Flames.
Sometimes it can be as simple as the ball going in the basket a few times. Tends to slow the other team's transition down
and just take the confidence out of them a little bit.
Yeah, I think as you say, Campbell, there's a noted uptick in confidence.
I think when you have players like Munro Cook and Shadwell on at the same time, they're both very vocal, and that tends to bring up the team with them. I think when either of them start to get a little bit quiet, then the team kind of slows down, but those two being very animated, very, very confident, starts to boost the team.
Okay, the last play was a basket to the Blues, so it'll be the Sydney Flames in the white to inbound the ball. Hannah Dodd with that ever-present smile kicks it into Annabelle Lindsay, who kicks it back to her to set up the play. Potentially something they've talked about in the timeout. Annabelle Lindsay rolling down to the block. Hannah Dodd says, I can make that, and banks it in.
And you saw Lindsay point, actually, to take that shot.
Marianne Latu finds her way uncontested down the middle of the keyway. Some confusion in transition defence there from the Flames. Hannah Dodd wheels round to the left. Looks for Lindsay. She's on the left block, triple teamed. Really probably no need for that foul, but the Blues have fouled and seem to have her contained. Annabelle Lindsay will go to the free throw line again.
I think Lindsay definitely knows in that position how to draw that contact and kind of force the defenders into either backing off completely or getting a foul like that. I can see her being very confident there.
Second one's astray as well. Tisha Shadwell, the rebound. And then we've got a collision, but possibly Marianne Latu was coming out of her chair and looking for that contact, and the defender didn't really do anything wrong.
Yeah, I think that the referees will be considering that just incidental contact. Arguably, neither player did anything particularly wrong. That is the risk of being on wheels at speed. It can come out quite easily.
Brodie Palmer back to Hannah Dodd. That lovely, almost two-handed release. Certainly very rhythmic. Gauchi back on the floor. We haven't seen her for a while. As it ticks under 5 minutes to go this second quarter. Stephanie Van Leeuwen with the rebound and hands off to Annabelle Lindsay, who's found another potential lane to the basket. Kylie Gauchi cuts her off. Gets it up nice and high. Georgia Munro Cook bumped there as she tried for an outlet pass.
And that's exactly the pressure that I wanted to see from the Blues, even with two low point players who really couldn't have contested that shot, but just getting enough pressure on Annabelle Lindsay to force her to make a shot that she wasn't happy with. I think that's really a credit to this defense picking up on the side of the Blues.
Georgia Munro Cook. She's almost wheeling round in her chair before that shot had got to the basket. Much better feel for her. Hannah Dodd is left relatively free again. Finds Brodie Palmer. Her shot's long. Things just starting to slip a little more in the favour of the Blues. Kylie Gauchi seemed to have a lane to the basket there, but thought better of it. Wheels around. It's cut off by Hannah Dodd. Takes another dribble. And is eventually fouled.
I think it's a difficult position to defend from once you've kind of stopped that player from moving. Anything that they try to move will be considered a hold.
Marianne Latu snaps that pass across. Georgia Munro Cook finds cutting Tori Simpson. I think it deflected out of bounds. The ball will stay with the Sydney Blues. Just 2 seconds, as you can see on the clock underneath the backboard for the Sydney Blues to shoot the ball. Let's hope they're aware of that. A little bit of talk going on. It's going up, but it didn't touch the rim, and the shot would need to touch the rim for the shot clock to reset. So
Almost an impossible position to be put in for any shooter there.
I think you need to be on the move towards the basket to be able to catch and release. Annabelle Lindsay, Hannah Dodd, familiar backcourt pairing. Brodie Palmer wheels her way around into a comfortable spot. Finishes. Marianne Latu cut off by Flames defence. Georgia Munro Cook. That shot just bobbles out for Tisha Shadwell. It's Annabelle Lindsay. Oh. That's an unexpected error. And it's Tori Simpson. And I think referee Ron Josephs has found a foul in the shooting motion.
I think Munro Cook happy with that one.
So we haven't seen Annabelle Lindsay come off the floor yet. We saw a ball handling error there. Given the 3 games on the weekend, is it usual for players to play entire 40-minute stretches?
I think it's unusual, but it's certainly not unheard of, especially with a player that's so critical to this team as Annabelle Lindsay is. I imagine there'll be times where they'll be willing to rest her, and I would have even thought at the start of this quarter might have been that time where they were looking a bit nicer, having a bit more of that lead, and just a time to rest her for a little bit. But
and we see the referees blowing their whistle there to stop play. Kylie Gauchi out of her chair. That's just purely a safety mechanism.
yeah, if the player's moving in the way that the player is down, then they will stop the play so that the play doesn't inevitably run through them. If the player is down behind the play, they'll allow that play to go through, and then if and when it stops, then the player can get up. Although you do see some players who can get themselves up very quickly, so sometimes you won't even need the stoppage.
Now clock is back in action now as we see somebody else. Hannah Dodd out of her chair. Just 3 seconds on the shot clock. As that shot goes up, it's off. And the players appealing for a stoppage in play to allow Hannah Dodd to get up.
So just to clarify that, any time that a player has that a player is down, if their teammate has the ball, they can point to that player being down no matter where they are, and the play will stop. So Dodd was considered out of the play there, but Annabelle Lindsay wanting her back in the play. And that's exactly why.
Hannah Dodd with that lovely left hand again. Holly Gauchi streaking down the floor, looking for support. Nothing there. Likes the look of that shot and makes it.
Flames needing to pick that up a lot faster. I think they should know the threat of Gauchi by now.
Down inside the last minute of this first half. Lindsay inside, wheels around Munro Cook. Draws a bit of contact from behind, I think, from Marianne Latu. No, the referees found Shelley Matheson at fault there.
I think you could have called any of the three players around there and it may not have been an incorrect call either way.
Annabelle Lindsay having some issues at the free throw line tonight. It's probably the only, although she makes that one, the only part of her game you could possibly find any fault with, I think. Kylie Gauchi pushes. Just about 30 odd seconds left in this first half. Blues will be probably fairly happy they've managed to stem the tide and get themselves back to a single figure margin. It's Annabelle Lindsay. Ball clutched in that left hand. Kicks the ball across. Brodie Palmer's shot is blocked out of bounds. In the Sydney Uni Flames, you'll notice the two clocks behind the backboard there are almost in sync. They can use the last 8 seconds. A timeout, a little bit of strategizing to see what sort of play or shot they can come up with in the last 8 seconds. Don't let that number on the screen fool you, as there is 8 seconds remaining.
I'm thinking they might as well use the timeouts that they've got. I think even just to give these players a little bit more of a break as they come into their bigger break. Seeing quite an aggressive play, quite fast pace, especially led by Gauchi, as we were saying before. I think that pace is starting to catch up with the Flames that they're not quite prepared for.
Troy Sachs with some demonstration of what he's after there. The Blues back on the floor with an unchanged lineup. Brodie Palmer. Shot's a little short. Lisa Edmonds with the rebound, but that shot not off in time. And that is half-time. I thought the officials were going to see if there was a fraction of a second remaining, but they're comfortable that the 20 minutes is done. Sydney Uni 28, Sydney Blues 21. A much better quarter for the home team.
Much better quarter, and I think it comes down to both ends being a lot stronger, considering their defense being a lot more aggressive and kind of picking up those shooters a lot faster, but also their transition offense being a lot faster, kind of looking for those easy picks where we saw Gauchi, we saw Latu getting into pretty easy lanes where they weren't quite contested early enough.
Yeah, promising stuff. Sydney Blues certainly won't want to get themselves in a situation where they've lost their first 2 games at home to start this weekend. We'll be back in about 12 minutes' time with the second half action. Welcome back for the second half of this round one clash in the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League. This game coming to you from Parramatta Stadium. A unique overview there we're getting of one of the Sydney Blues players. Sydney Blues in the black uniforms. They're taking on their crosstown rivals, the Sydney Uni Flames. The first time we've seen the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League since 2022. Getting us underway, Miriam Latu for the Blues. Georgia Munro Cook, unfortunately her shooting woes continue, but the Blues have found a way to get the ball back. My name is Brendan Parnell. I'm joined by Campbell Fraser. And Campbell, still plenty of work to do for the Blues in this second half.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they're very well within it, within a winning chance here. But those shots from Munro Cook just not dropping, I think that's really what's letting them down at the moment. Otherwise, their play is really strong, their defense is really strong, but just a few shots going a bit wild.
Hannah Dodd down with no surprise, left-hand pass. But the ball goes astray from Stephanie Van Leeuwen there. And it's the Blues who are off almost to the races. Latu with the no-look pass. Munro Cook must finish this one and does.
Should be feeling good for that one. Finally getting something to roll.
Beautiful pass from Miriam Latu. The look away. Hannah Dodd bringing the ball down for the Sydney Uni Flames. And that one rolls around and falls in for her. Again, the Blues content to go under the screening action there. The ball is rolling around.
None of the Flames actually noticing that ball being down. Very lucky for the Blues.
Tisha Shadwell was onto it. Miriam Latu leans back in her chair, but her mid-range shot comes up a little short. Annabelle Lindsay, leading scorer for the Sydney Uni Flames in the first half with a dozen, leading the break for them now. Tisha Shadwell cuts off her drive. Lindsay rolls back in the chair. There's that really rhythmic two-hand action from Dodd. The rebound is spilt out of bounds by the Blues and will stay with the Flames. 14 seconds on the shot clock for them to manufacture something. So we see Brianna Fisk on the floor in 13 for the Flames as that banker goes down. Latu gets her way into the paint and answers for the Blues.
Again, those rolls just being a little too easy, not covered quick enough.
A lot of chairs in the middle of the floor there as the Blues look to force a turnover and do. Caitlin Gunn finds the more experienced Latu. She's cut off by Hannah Dodd. Munro Cook can't get that one to roll. Did everything but fell in. Annabelle Lindsay pursued by Kylie Gauchi. She almost pokes that away. Hannah Dodd operating in the post now.
And that's that fight that I'm liking out of the Blues, even from a low point player, kind of pressuring that ball, not allowing Annabelle Lindsay to get anything free.
So we see Georgia Munro Cook take a break. Shelley Matheson into the game in 21 for the Blues. Brodie Palmer cut off, shot clock expiring. She's forced into a, probably we can describe as a left-hand hoik there, but really had to get something off and realised the urgency of the situation and left with no formal shooting motion. Kylie Gauchi probing down the right wing, back to Latu. She wheels around, pursued by Hannah Dodd. Back to Kylie Gauchi. She skips the pass across. Shelley Matheson is open. Just a little long with her shot. She scrambles to try and stop Palmer and did a great job there in forcing the first one we've seen in this game, an 8-second violation. So after a defensive rebound or an inbound pass in the backcourt, teams are allowed 8 seconds to progress the ball past halfway. And the Sydney New Flames failed to do that on this occasion. Gauci with the shot fake, gets it back, and the shot clock expires on the Blues, unfortunately.
They won't be arguing it now, but I think that shot clock may have activated a little early. It seemed like a very quick 14 seconds.
Yeah, they would have had 14 because it was in the front court after the turnover by the Flames. It did seem quick, but most likely a perception thing, as there's a little bit of contact there. Annabelle Lindsay, a little irate.
Getting a little bit fired up. A lot of the fouls that have been committed by the Blues have been directly onto Annabelle Lindsay, really shutting her down.
Brady Palmer back to Hannah Dodd. Two-handers up. Marianne Latu. Some backcourt pressure there. Lila Gauci. And beautiful roll to the basket by Tisha Shadwell. She gets it back from Gauci and finishes. Blues back within 5. And a conscious effort being made by them to push up the floor defensively. Little scrambling stuff. Shadwell again involved as she deflects that ball out of bounds. Sydney New Flames should be aware there's just 4 seconds, as you can see on the monitor underneath the backboard. That's the time they have remaining to take a shot. Stephanie Van Leeuwen to inbound. Officials have seen something.
Timeout being called.
In fact, it's a timeout by the Flames. They'll have an opportunity to talk about what to do in the next 4 seconds. Are you liking what you're seeing, Campbell, this up-tempo defensive approach?
Yeah, I think that's putting a lot of pressure on the Flames, and I think also we've seen a lot of the ball handling come down to both Dodd and Annabelle Lindsay, and rather not allowing the Blues, kind of pushing those two up the court, not allowing them to ball handle as they want to, forcing the ball into some more inexperienced players. I think that's really allowing them to get much closer as it is now.
You can see the Flames huddle there. Head coach Alan Cox with some ideas he's trying to convey. Most likely to do with that extended pressure from the Blues and about how they would get their press break affected.
They'll be looking to get someone over the half court because we know the arm of Annabelle Lindsay, she can make a pass quite deadly accurate at that distance, but they've got to get someone into that position that they can get that pass to.
It's Van Leeuwen to inbound. They find their preeminent shooter, Annabelle Lindsay. She's off. Georgia Munro Cook is back with us on the floor. She gets right into the middle of the paint, holds that up nice and high. And it's Hannah Dodd streaking down. There's that left hand again. Ever reliable.
And again, that long pass that we know Annabelle Lindsay can make.
One of the most effective press breakers. Marianne Latu answers for the Sydney Blues. The mid-court screen there. And a jump ball. Kylie Gauci managing to get her hands on the ball that Hannah Dodd formerly had. So with a jump ball, the possession arrow, which alternates, is in favour of the Sydney Uni Flames. The Blues will get the next opportunity. Hannah Dodd with the banker this time. Off the pass from Brodie Palmer.
Flames doing well to find a different shooter, knowing that Annabelle Lindsay is being shut down a little bit here.
Marianne Latu does a 360 there. Kylie Gauci uses the screen. It's down to the baseline. Shot's a tough angle to shoot from there. Appeals to the officials. She scrambles to chase. Lindsay really the focus of so much defensive attention. We've got another 8-second violation as they forced Lindsay to go from side to side. Marianne Latu just left unguarded again.
Once again, those little layups that are just becoming so easy.
So we tick down under 3 minutes remaining, third quarter. Round one action, but it's Hannah Dodd again on the end of that transition pass. This shot from Marianne Latu is a little short. Hannah Dodd with a favoured left pass. Wheels across the floor, left-hand dribble. Finds Lindsay. Shot clock being counted down by the Flames players in the background. Unfortunately, Kylie Gauci's fouled there. Just 2 minutes remaining. Shelley Matheson comes back on the floor for the Sydney Blues in 21. Ball's inbounded by the Flames to Lindsay. Nice little roll to the hoop. Stephanie Van Leeuwen with the basket there. Marianne Latu finds Kylie Gauci rolling down the middle of the paint. She can't finish, and here's Hannah Dodd scrambling after this one. The ball just wouldn't oblige. That same long pass from Annabelle Lindsay.
Probably also the the size of the stadium being a little bit of a factor there. Hannah Dodd not being able to push necessarily as hard as she wants, knowing that she has to slow down before that wall.
Yeah, the runoff areas at the just at the allowable standard. It's certainly something to be aware of. Skip pass there. Monroe Cook gets the offensive rebound. The miss by Matheson. Wheels around. She's confronted by two defenders, but makes the basket and is fouled in the act of shooting, so she'll have an opportunity for an extra point, a three-point play potentially. For all the great work by the Blues, they're still stuck with this 7-point deficit.
It's really all coming down to their shooting at this point. I mean, as a team, they're shooting 32%.
Georgia Monroe Cook misses that one. She'd consider it very makeable. Little baseline shot. Brodie Palmer pushes ahead. Hannah Dodd. Patented left-hand pass. She gets it back. and finds a streaking Brianna Fisk, who makes a layup. Pass right on time. Cook cut off, Latu wheels around, shot clock down to 3. That one's astray. Gauchi the rebound. Munro Cook for 3. That's very timely.
Really finding her stride there.
As the third quarter runs out, and Sydney Blues have been fantastic, but they're still trailing by 6, Campbell.
I think that those last couple minutes are really showing that they're going to end strong. I think with those few shots falling, a few more of those open layups that really shouldn't be allowed by the Flames. I think we're seeing something that might come down very, very close.
And this is the second of 2 contests this weekend in the first round of the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League, and later on tonight at 8 o'clock Perth time, or 10 o'clock if you're on the East Coast, or some other time if you're watching anywhere else around the world, in about 2 hours time either way. The Perth Wheelcats will take on the Queensland Comets from the Bendat Basketball Centre over in Perth, and they had a comfortable win in their first game today against the Comets, 67-36, but plenty of former and current gliders on display there, and another exciting clash in store, an exciting thing for the sport to have the league back.
And a fantastic thing to be able to have the women's league back in such full force. It's an unfortunate thing seeing the female players forced to play in the men's league when really they do have the numbers, and now we're seeing that, to have the women's league running where they can really show off how they play and not have to kind of fit the style of play that you see out of the men that is quite different.
Yeah, we saw Kylie Gauchi last weekend playing for the Manly Wheel Eagles, and played a starring role defensively in the men's league, where she would come in as getting a 1-point reduction by virtue of being a female player in the men's league, but she was certainly one of the star players last weekend.
And we're seeing that value coming through now, the same in the women's league, really playing that fast, aggressive defense and offense, and really utilizing the fact that she is relatively small. She sits quite low and can actually go quite unnoticed, and then takes very, very easy shots that she's quite comfortable with.
As we see that very woman wheeling underneath our camera, she will inbound the ball for the Blues, and because of the alternating possession arrow, will start the fourth quarter. 6-point deficit, all to play for after a close game between these two teams earlier today. Referee Ron Joseph with a few final instructions. And we're underway, the last quarter, coming to you from Parramatta Basketball Stadium, courtesy of Wheelchair Basketball Australia. Almost a great start for the Blues, but it's Hannah Dodge streaking and going left. Incredibly, I say incredibly, just because she's been so efficient tonight, that one doesn't work. Kylie Gauchi, beautiful look away pass. And maybe that sums up a little of the evening for Georgia Munro Cook, unable to make the point blank layup. And it's Dodd off to Cecile Wells. She looks, ball back to Lindsay. Guarded by Gauchi, and that she managed to scoot in there and grab that rebound that was sailing out of bounds. You can see how strategic it is in the backcourt for defenders being screened away.
Yeah, allowing that advantage, and the Blues being able to have that little bit of speed and kind of push that numbers advantage.
Kylie Gauchi Gets a beautiful pass from Shelley Matheson. Makes the layup. Anna's fouled. She'll have a chance to get this back to a one-possession game.
I think that's exactly that. Pushing that defender out forces them to play a little bit aggressive to get back in, and that's exactly what we saw. Kind of forcing that foul.
Kaligauchi takes a deep breath. Unfortunately, that one's off the front of the rim. Annabelle Lindsay with the rebound. Anna Dodd. We've got another 8-second call in the backcourt. The third one tonight, and it's a tribute to the defensive pressure that the Blues have committed to try and stop transition.
I wonder if that was actually called a travel. It looked like it might have been.
I potentially could have got that one wrong, Campbell.
From where I'm sitting, it looked like she might have taken 3 pushes there.
Liesl Tesh a little long with that shot. The ball was destined for the Flames and just deflected away by Georgia Munro Cook.
No, you are correct. It was marked as an 8-second.
I was watching the referee and it did look like he had mouthed the words 8 seconds. Either way, fantastic defensive pressure in the backcourt from the Blues. Annabelle Lindsay off this really nicely run inbound play. Ball finishes up with Cecile Wells. She can't make the layup, but the rebound is spilled out long. Annabelle Lindsay gets on a right hand, cut off again. Marianne Latu. Anna Dodd. She's been excellent tonight.
Especially with those longer shots that you wouldn't necessarily consider a low point player looking for those shots, but she's been very comfortable from that range.
Ooh, that shot's a little short. Lindsay with another board. Streaking down the floor, finds Dodd. I'll be keen to get a handle on her, although that one's a little short. Gauchi muscles in there to get the rebound. Liesl Tesh does the same and is forced to tie up with Patricia Luff. Beg your pardon, that was Tori Simpson involved in the jump ball there. Annabelle Lindsay out to Tesh. She's guarded by Jessica Cronje. Rebound falls. Kaligauchi. She's pushing. Great acceleration. Tesh cuts her off. Gauchi wheels around. The officials just trying to have a mini conference there to figure out where the ball's going. It's going to stay with the Blues. 9 seconds on the shot clock for them. Kaligauchi looks for an angle. Georgia Munro Cook provides one. Shot's up, but it's short. Annabelle Lindsay cut off again. Anna Dodd. Great dexterity in the chair. Foul is drawn. Cecile Wells fouled. She got the great pass there.
I think up until that foul, really strong defense from the Blues, really forcing that ball high. I mean, obviously we saw the pass come down a bit lower, but really keeping most of the players up towards the halfway line. Really powerful defense.
Liesl Tesh hustles in there to get that offensive rebound off the free throw miss. Lindsay with the shot. Munro Cook the rebound finds the point guard. Gauci, who, ooh, so close there for Jessica Cronje. Lindsay, double team. It's Dodd again. Who's the beneficiary. Great pass from Lindsay and finish by Dodd. The margin back to 8. Inside 6 minutes to play. Fourth quarter. Coming to you from Parramatta Basketball Stadium, round 1. The Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League. Carly Gauci in the paint. And that one finally goes. Georgia Munro Cook. The roll of the eyes. Basket's good. A free throw to come. Every time you think they're going away, the Blues, they find a way to keep clinging on.
I think it's very much a credit to the mentality of this team, even being behind this entire game, but knowing that they've still got a chance, they still fight. They're not going to let silly mistakes go.
Free throw's good, crucially, as we see a massive substitutions from the Blues. Marianne Latu back on, along with Tisha Shadwell. And the backcourt pressure continues and forces another turnover. Latu, just a little impetuous with that pass. There was a clear advantage, but Munro Cook unable to reel it in. More backcourt pressure. Lindsay manages to reel it in. Hotly pursued by Gauci. Shadwell cuts off Lindsay on the baseline. Back to Lindsay. Shot fake, shot clock expiring, launches. Latu the rebound. Gauci looking for a way through the traffic. Switching ball from hand to hand. Expertly done by Marianne Latu. I think she saw that contact coming.
I think she knew that shot wasn't going to go in, but if she can force the shot and force the contact, knowing that she'll get those 2 shots.
A little confusion here. The officials determining that might have been a 5th foul. Just conferring with each other and the score table. Alan Cox taking all of his allotted time to make his substitutions.
Confirming points as well.
Yeah, something that coaches always have to have in mind. How many points have I got on the floor?
It's a difficult thing to be a coach in this system, I think.
Marianne Latu can't get that second free throw to go either. It's ticking down towards 4 minutes to play here at Parramatta Basketball Stadium. Ball's kicked ahead, but it's another turnover. Caitlin Gunn picks that one up. It's ever-present Kylie Gauci wheeling around in her chair. Finds Tisha Shadwell. It's the right shot, just not the right result. Annabelle Lindsay trying to push off the ever-present Kylie Gauci, who's forced another turnover.
You can hear her yelling for her team to come back, looking for a pass that she can make, and just finding nothing.
She truly is a defensive dynamo. Persistence. Ball poked away by Liesl Tesh expertly. Georgia Munro Cook goes back and picks it up with one hand. Shot clock running down. Tisha Shadwell's going to have to launch that one. It catches a bit of the rim, but sails out of bounds.
Really smart play there to just intercept that ball a little bit and waste a lot of that time.
Lindsay again. Shadwell, it's real team effort to try and cut off the lanes to the basket for her. And there's ubiquitous Kylie Gauchi. Picks a pocket. Lindsay's chair speed a little too much. But finds Munro Cook for the wide open layup. We're back to one possession game finally. The Blues just all out scrambling defensively. Lindsay finds a lane. Hands everywhere. She gets it to go.
Even with such pressure and pressure from both of the big players on the Blues.
As we've got a timeout here now to the Blues. Troy Sachs will be looking at strategically what he can do. 5-point margin, just under 3 minutes to play. Do they need to do anything different, Campbell?
Honestly, I think the way that they're playing, the style that they're playing is working for them. It's just a few of those shots aren't going. I mean, we've got Munro Cook now hitting 19. She's hit 19 points, 11 rebounds. I think she's kind of found her element in this second half a little bit more than she had in that first half. And really, they're taking great strides to cut down Annabelle Lindsay. Obviously, we do have Dodd coming through. Dodd actually being a higher scorer at this point. But really putting pressure on those two scorers to kind of force them into playing through other players that they're not quite as experienced with.
Blues are back underway. Munro Cook likes the look of that three. It's almost in. As we see a player out of chair. She'll get a hand up. Kylie Gauchi rolling around to figure out how best to help. It's Marianne Latu. Uses the leverage of Kylie's chair. She's up and ready to play. And Campbell, it was Hannah Dodd fouling out before. If anybody's wondering why you can't see her on the floor at the moment, she's been such a force at both ends. Lindsay beats the pressure, thinks better of it. Munro Cook comes to corral her. Tisha Shadwell with the foul on this occasion.
And that could actually be a very big threat to the Flames, not having their signature ball carrier and one of their highest scorers in these last couple of minutes.
Van Leeuwen with the 2 free throws now for the Flames. She's on the mark with her patented one-handed release on that one. Second one a little short. Who's there? Lindsay. Who's there? Lindsay. Now it's Kylie Gauchi. Gets hold of that second miss and draws some contact. She's out of her chair. Remarkably dexterous. Gets a bit of a hand from Marianne Latu. Reversing rolls from the previous spill. She inbounds to Georgia Munro Cook. Just 2 minutes remaining now. Kylie Gauchi goes back door. Beautiful pass. Georgia Munro Cook. So we see a slight delay with Marianne Latu on the floor again. She gets a hand.
Team not quite helping her up. Can be a difficult thing with the front of these chairs being curved the way that they are and kind of sliding along the court.
Kylie Gauci weaves her magic, or works her magic, and helps Marianne Latu. Flames to inbound now, leading by the 6 points. Lisa Tesh gets it in, gets it back. Lindsay comes cutting from the other side of the floor. Almost inevitable she'd get a touch on these last few possessions. Back to Tesh. Shot clock ticks its way down under 10. Tesh gets a lovely pass back, and yeah, fantastic assist there. She's ready to shoot. Just a slight delay. Referees are happy now. Tall order now for the Blues. 8 points. Just under 90 seconds. Munro Cook gets down to the baseline. Looks for cutters. Matheson gets it away, but can't get it to go. Munro Cook takes some space. She'll look at 3 here. Shot clock expiring. That's a little off. Patricia Luff with the rebound. Lindsay now happy to milk the clock. Georgia Munro Cook obliges with the foul. Desperate times here really for the Blues. And foul to stop the clock, or allow the Flames to use this last, although the shot clock down under 8 now, 7. Shot is short from the corner. Just 40 seconds left. Georgia Munro Cook makes 2. The clock will stop now on each made field goal, but the Blues really in a position where they will have to foul. I think we've got a timeout called before that pass was inbounded. It's a timeout to the Flames, so they'll have the option of either inbounding the ball in the back court or bringing it to the front court. 6 points, a little too much, Campbell?
I think it's always doable. I think if you get a shot and maybe a foul and a quick turnover, it's definitely doable. Stranger things have happened, but really I find it difficult to think that these the women of the Flames will turn over such a such a win.
Coach of the Flames, Alan Cox, we can see there with the whiteboard out. Likely be something they've practiced about how to get the ball inbound safely, and likely how to get it into the hands of their best free throw shooters.
And really how to waste that time a little bit. I think really all they've got to do is hold on. There's no reason for the Flames to make anything fancy here. All they've got to do is waste a little bit of time.
They've opted to take the ball to the front court, an option they have by dint of being the team to call the timeout inside the last 2 minutes. And Lewin gets it in to Tesh. She takes a couple of dribbles. Ball swings around, shots off. Go back to the Blues. Clock won't start until somebody touches the ball. Georgia Munro Cook Really has to look at a 3 here. And it rims in and out. Tesh gets hold, back to Lindsay. Inside the last 10 seconds now. Tesh kicks ahead. Stephanie Van Leeuwen finished with the ball, and it's another close win for the Flames on the road, round 1.
I think really that's a credit to both teams, but really a credit to the Blues fighting that game till the last second, finding points where they can, and really making a good effort of a game that looked pretty dim from that first quarter.
It certainly augurs well for the remainder of the Women's National Wheelchair Basketball League to have 2 such close games on this first weekend, the first day, Saturday. These 2 teams will play again tomorrow. But pleasingly, coming up in a couple of hours' time, from 8 o'clock Perth time or 10 o'clock on the East Coast Australia, we'll have the Perth Wheelcats women taking on the Queensland Comets in their second game from Bendat Basketball Stadium over in Perth. So we hope that you can join us then. Campbell, any final thoughts? Or
Not particularly. I think it was a really strong showing. I mean, Dodd being the second highest scorer, 1 point behind Monroe Cook, and having 6 more points than Annabelle Lindsay. I think that really shows the depth of the side of the Flames and really what's allowing them to score in those opportunities.
Yeah, she was certainly a revelation tonight. All right, we will be back in almost a couple of hours and bringing you the game from Perth.